Welcome, everybody. We are halfway through our 90-day fast track for the fall 2013. This is incredible. We are entering into the second half of our fast track, which is week 7. And just as I predicted, it's interesting, actually. We look at the numbers going into it and we realize, most people that make it past week 3 or 4 are the ones that stay with us. And we really pushed people to stick with it past that 4th week, and I'm really, really excited to say that we have more people participating halfway through than we ever have. But for sure, I really believe that the people that have made it halfway through are the ones that are going to make it through to the end. So that's what it's all about, you guys. Everything that we've done in the first half of this fast track is going to culminate and manifest into results over the next 6 weeks, and that's really what it's all about. It's just like building the business. I say this every single week. What you do to set forth in motion, to set website appointments, to generate interest in what we have this week is going to pay you 2 to 3 weeks from now. That's how it works. So you have to have that realistic expectation both for website sales and also for building your business. Understand that when you're prospecting and recruiting for the business, that's how it works. Do you agree with that? That you'll show the plan, you'll generate interest, you'll get their questions answered, and really it's a 2 to 3 week evaluation process at least before a prospect is ready to launch their business. When it comes to making major website, online marketing, that kind of decision is a major marketing decision, and a 2 to 3 week evaluation period is very, very typical. So understand, if maybe you didn't really start for the first 2 or 3 weeks and you had a slower start and you really started prospecting within the past week or two, that it might take another week or two before you start to see results. I want you to gauge your results based on the activity that you're doing, not just the results that you're seeing that are done, because the results that you're seeing are results that are people that have been prospecting and really just planting seeds for the last couple of weeks. So this is about you and about what you want to get out of it. So I want you to make sure that you're measuring and monitoring and adjusting your own personal progress, because that's what it really comes down to, is what are you doing and what's working really well for you, so that you can continue to do the things that are working well and to adjust on the things that are maybe not working as well as you'd like. So let's go ahead and get started. A couple of quick announcements. These webinars are being recorded. Recordings and or presentations are being uploaded to mawc411.com on the 90-day coaching call page. If you go to mawc411.com, if you click on getting started and scroll down to 90-day fast track, a couple of secondary menu items will appear. The 90-day coaching calls is one of them, and you can view all of the recent coaching calls that have been recorded, as well as download these presentations for your own personal review. Just understand, if the recording does not work out successfully, that it will not be available. Only the PowerPoint will be available. Weekly reminders for these webinars are being sent to your email that you registered for the GoToMeeting account with. I know there were a couple of issues last week with the email, and actually GoToWebinar had no answer for that. It was just a weird glitch. But we did go ahead and confirm, and those emails did get successfully sent out today. Another very important announcement: when you're reporting your numbers on Fridays, please remember that when we're asking for numbers, that's the only kind of value that we're looking for. We only want numbers. So for example, when we're asking for the types of contacts that you made, or excuse me, the number of contacts that you made, even though there are different types of contacts, like for example, you could have contacted someone about a website or about the business or about a product or a ticket, we only are looking for a number. And at the end, there's a section for you to add notes. If you want to explain any of your numbers, or if you have any specific questions that you'd like me to consider when it comes to choosing a topic for the weekly coaching call, that's where you want to write those, those comments in. But when we actually add all the numbers together, I actually have to go and delete any of the letters that are entered into the form. So make sure that you're only using numbers, please. If you have any questions about tonight's material, you can send us a question in your question box in your admin panel. And lastly, I just want to remind everybody that you should show up for these weekly coaching calls. The recordings are not guaranteed, so the only guarantee for you to get the information is for you to show up. The majority of people that are showing up, it's interesting. I read through the attendee list and I can see who's showing up. And those are the people that are personalized sponsoring, and those are the people that are selling websites, and those are the people that are selling product. So if you're looking to be successful, you have to plug in. The fast track has never been about any secret sauce or magic, pixie dust that we can sprinkle on you for you to be successful. It's about you showing up and doing the little activities that are required of you so that you can actually have good, healthy business building habits and build a strong business. So make sure you're showing up. And I know I'm preaching to the choir, but continue to do so. Pat yourself on the back for being here tonight, and make sure that you continue to do that going forward. So let's talk about what we're going to be talking about tonight. We talked about housekeeping. We're going to talk about the results that we've had going forward, and what we're looking to accomplish in the second half of this fast track. From there, we're going to have a couple of guest speakers tonight. The first one is actually my husband. His name is Ryan Patrick Stack, and he is an ex sales professional, outside sales professional with a Yellow Page company. So, he specialized in talking to small to medium-sized businesses about their advertising and marketing needs. And so, we see a lot of questions in our Facebook account. How do I approach a random business owner that I don't know? Or what if I'm run out of warm contacts? And we kind of addressed this last week, but I wanted to give you a different perspective on that tonight, on that approach. So, I thought who better to do that than Ryan, who's done this, for a career. But I want to give you not just the old school prospecting tips, because the old school prospecting tips are great, in the old school. And some of those things are going to translate in the future. But the fact is that there is a fresh approach to that. It's not just about cold calling anymore. It's about reaching out to cold contacts in a new way, in a way that builds value, in a way that builds a strong relationship so that a person would want to actually work with you. Back in the day, that was the norm, to just pick up the phone and cold call people, and they would be open to hearing what you had to say. And today, that's just not the case. There's more work that needs to go into building those relationships. So Ryan's going to talk to you a little bit about that tonight. From there, I'm going to turn it over to Eric Yu. And Eric Yu is a certified Web Center trainer, also a fast track coach. He's our fast track coach of the week. And extremely, extremely successful with a very limited amount of time that he can commit to the fast track. If you remember him from International Convention, Eric is the one who worked the overnight shift. He works the overnight shift at a restaurant in Manhattan. So think about that. Just process that in your head. Working from like midnight until 9 in the morning, sleeping, and then having very, very limited hours to actually build the business in between when he gets to rest and when he has to go clock in for the overnight shift again. And so when I hear about people that are saying, wow, I just can't seem to find the time, I can't think of anybody better than Eric Yu to address that. But more than that, Eric has limited time to work with. So I feel like what he's going to be coaching on everybody tonight is extremely valuable. He's going to be coaching on the importance of a good first impression. And I think that that's going to really piggyback off of what Ryan is going to be coaching on tonight very, very well. Because when you're talking to people that you don't know, that first impression is going to be critical in whether or not you get a second appointment with that person or not. So I think what the two of these gentlemen have to offer tonight is going to be incredible. And from there, I'm going to wrap it up, and I'm going to give you a nice little action plan for what to do in week 7. All right, so with that being said, let me go ahead and share some of these results. So last week we had our lowest week, and this week we are climbing back up, which is great. 8 website sales at $12,050 with a retail profit of $8,260, which is great. Other MA products sold over 10 grand, 9 personally sponsored, 14 additional partners, and lots of new pin levels as well. So we're starting to climb back up, which is great. Last week, I challenged everybody. I said, look, if these are not the results that you want for yourself, don't blame anybody. Just take a look at your activity. Is that activity the kind of activity that warrants results? Is the answer yes, or is the answer no? Either way, it doesn't matter. What matters is whether or not you take that answer and you decide to take a different course of action, or you don't. And that's really all that it's about. So I asked everybody last week, if you're not seeing the results that you want, what is holding you back? Is it a scheduling conflict? Is it the fact that you're nervous to talk to prospects? And if you're nervous to talk to prospects, why are you nervous to talk to prospects? In my opinion, the people that are nervous, it's because their answer to what is it is not true to who they are. So, if you're doing the referral approach and you're simply just referring your prospects to an appointment, isn't that so simple? Isn't that so easy to do? Isn't that something that we do every day in our lives anyway? And if you're trying to do something more advanced than that and you're not quite ready, I encourage you to take that simple approach and do that referral marketing, because that's so, so easy. We do that every single day with restaurants, with services, with movies, with things that we like. We refer our friends and family and neighbors and colleagues to services and restaurants and, like I said, movies that we like every single day. And if you could just simply just switch that thinking in your head and embrace that referral marketing, I really do think that we would go from making 10 to 13 websites a week to making more like 25 to 30 to 40 or even 50 websites in a week, because it's that simple. And you have to acknowledge and appreciate that it really is that simple before you can actually do it. So these are our results. Like I said, we're climbing back up, and that's exactly what matters. I foresee the second half of this fast track, definitely growing from here, only getting better, because, like I said, this is a process. And the work that you did yesterday is going to pay you 2 to 3 weeks from now, as long as you're following up. And so if you're doing the work, if you're not just, committing zeros and ones to your contacts made and appointments set, you will see the sales popping through. Statistically speaking, if you're going to be setting appointments on a weekly basis, it will culminate into something. If you're not setting appointments, then that's the adjustment that you need to make. It really and truly is that simple, you guys. So I encourage everybody to be monitoring their own personal progress and seeing, is my personal progress the kind of progress that I want to be making, so that I can see results, so that you can see the results that you want going forward. So what I want to do now is I want to introduce to you guys Ryan Stack. Like I said, Ryan Stack, he's my husband. He's really the mastermind behind our business. He does an incredible job, and retired from his career in outside sales, working for a Yellow Page company, where literally his job was to do two things. Number one was to meet new business owners in a zone, in a specific area that he was targeted to work within, and to really build relationships with these people and to get them to commit to advertising for the year. So that was number one, was to bring on new business. And number two was to renew that business every year. And that's actually one of the things I love about our business, is that once you get them, we re-earn their business on a month-to-month basis. There's no going out and having to renew them on a yearly basis, which is really, really nice. So I want to turn it over to him. I think he's got a very unique perspective, and I think that the kinds of things that he did in his career are very, very applicable to what we do in the web center business. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Ryan.
All right, guys, how you doing? Thank you so much, Sarah, for having me on. And like Sarah said, a big part of my professional career was starting in an area where you knew no one and targeting a specific town, and then building up an industry in where to sell advertisements, whether it be in print or online, or various areas that we had. So I think a lot of it is applicable to what you guys do here in the Web Center program. A lot of what we've done, taken from what I did and applied it to our own business, applies to what we can help you guys with. So an area of where I specialize in is how do you draw in brand new clients with areas that you weren't where you're not familiar with people, you don't have networking already set up. Imagine if you moved to a new area and you had nowhere to start. And I believe that's really where I was focused in as a professional with my job in the Yellow Page company I was with. So I think a lot of it can apply to everyone who's looking for brand new sales, starting in an industry they're not familiar with, or how do you begin to build a network past what you're already comfortable with. I believe this can really help you guys and mirror what Sarah Rose has taught you this entire fast track time. So let me bring to you, and hopefully you can take what we have taken, applying this to our business, and hopefully it'll apply to yours and you'll have the success that you're looking for, is how do you start with a brand new industry with brand new prospects and cultivate an area you're unfamiliar with. And here's how I did it. In my job, we weren't allowed to build by phone calls. We weren't allowed to pick up the phone. We were only allowed to network in person with business owners, and it taught me a lot of things. So I'm gonna bring you a few key points that you can take. And again, I hope it allows you to hit the success you're looking for. Is number one is we have to develop an area of building businesses A to Z in the area that we were familiar with. So, working in Yellow Pages, here's how we did it. We started with one key industry. So let me give an example: roofing companies, contractors, insurance companies, whatever you would target. We would pick one industry in one town or one geographical area, like a county, and then we would focus on compiling an organization of businesses in that industry, in that area, of A to Z. So a great place to start when you're organizing this list is start with businesses A to Z in your area. So I would always say in a county is a great place to start, A to Z. And let's just say we're tackling roofers, roofing contractors, is we would open up a Yellow Pages in your area. I would also say get as many different Yellow Pages that as you can. If you can, call up the companies and get those different publications, because that's going to give you a great A to Z reference of all of those businesses in that arena. So let's say you start with Yellow Pages, start with, then add newspapers. Who in that industry is also showing up in newspapers that mirrors what shows up in Yellow Pages or might not even show up in Yellow Pages? And then also you can cross-reference that with Googling that industry in your area that you're targeting. Like let's say it's roofing contractors in that area. Okay, so you're going to cross-reference so you have an A to Z list of all the businesses in the industry that you're focusing on and you're targeting in all various types of publications where there's advertising for that in your area. Okay, so I always say use Yellow Pages, use multiple Yellow Pages, use newspapers, and then cross-reference that with super pages or online Yellow Pages in your area, and then make a list of A to Z of who's in that area, and then you can also put on Google. And then what you're going to do is next to that list, A to Z, is you're going to start listing who's advertising. So who in the Yellow Pages has an ad? Is it colored? Is it black and white? Is it just a listing? And start listing that, because a normal business page advertisement, a normal block in the Yellow Pages is about $240 per month. To give you a ballpark figure of what that means, of what someone's spending to try to draw leads into their business, a normal business page advertisement is about $240 per month in Yellow Pages. Look at what they're doing in newspapers. Look at what they're doing online. Okay, so you have this A to Z list in an industry, and then you're going to add who's doing advertisement in print, on online, in Yellow Pages, in newspaper, and you're gonna make a little mark. Okay, then the other thing you're going to do is start researching. Just pretend you're someone looking for their service, and you're going to say, I need a new roof in so and so area, and you're going to put that in Google, and then start seeing who shows up, who doesn't show up, who has a website, who doesn't have a website, who's advertising, who's not advertising. And what that starts doing is you're putting in a research in an industry, in an area you're specializing in, and now you have an entire list of all the companies in your area that are doing business in those industries, and now you have an idea of who's showing up, who's not showing up, who has a great website, who has no website, who has a website that's outdated, who has a website that's not showing up in the searches you're doing, who's having advertisement in print and other sources that you've already researched. Okay, and now you have a complete organized A to Z list of businesses in your area that you can begin to do what Sarah has been teaching you to do over the past couple weeks, is begin to prospect and to begin to network and to begin to figure out who's a great candidate into getting an appointment to see if this solution can be great for what they're looking for in business. Okay, and the difference is when you do this list, it's different than cold calling. It's different than the normal networking approaches. You've actually done research into seeing what business we can actually help. build business and build an income stream into the business that normally they don't already have that being built, or they're not already doing that currently in the marketplace. And there's other peer people who are doing it way better and capturing all the leads where they're not even showing up. Okay. So having this A to Z list, you can start seeing what businesses are showing up, what businesses are doing a great job, what businesses are doing a mediocre job, and what businesses aren't even on the radar, meaning whether they have a website or not, they're not even showing up in the criteria of what you've already researched. And now you have a list of people who are doing great, people are doing mediocre, and people who aren't even on the radar. Now you're able to implement and show which areas of business that we can help people to the best capabilities, whether the small business or large business or a startup business, where our solutions fits perfectly into increasing their business and their profits. So what Sarah has been talking about with the networking approach, now you have a professional A to Z list in an industry, and now you have exactly who we can help to the best capability based on your research, rather than just start with a cold calling list. So, what I would encourage you to do with this list, once you've organized and developed this list, is start to implement where Sarah has already touched with a networking approach or a two-call approach. Once you have identified the people that fit the middle of the list or people who are brand new, is you can start developing a two-call approach with those who fit that list of the mediocre or brand new approach, where they're not showing up where certain people are all the time, where we can help with our solutions to capture those leads. Or a brand new business who doesn't know where to start, we can help implement where they can capture what the large companies in the area are already capturing. Okay. Or the two call approach, where you can call those businesses that fit those two medium categories of who we can help. And you can do a two call approach, whether you can ask them where they get their leads, or where people are finding them, or do they have a website, and you already know the answer based on your research, based on the A to Z list that you've already put together. And then you can also get the names of the business owners when you call, or the current what we call a gatekeeper, someone who's an admin of that area, when you pick up the phone, and ask who is the business owner, who is the person you're talking to when you call those businesses. Okay. Because a lot of times, if you can get the business owner's name, or the person who's seemingly always answered to pick up the call, is you can then directly call and ask for the business owner or those people, and saying, I'm looking for this owner, Bob, or I'm looking for the owner, Ryan. I believe I can really help them in their online approach to capturing business. Is that person available? And a lot of times, if you know those names after two call approach, you can get the person on the phone immediately. Okay, the other approach you can do is, once you have an A to Z list, begin to network with those who you already talked to. So Sarah is really probably the master at this, is where you can have an A to Z list and begin to Facebook and find out the mutual friends of those businesses that you have in common. So if it's a roofing contractor, whatever the business, XYZ business, start friending that business and start seeing who you are mutually friends with, and then start contacting those people. How do you know this? I'm looking to find this business owner, and seeing if you have any relationship with. And you might be able to get an appointment with those people based on the contacts you already have. So I think this can be a great resource in starting with brand new businesses, or building the businesses you already have, is compiling an A to Z list and finding where those people fall in advertisements and showing up on Google searches or other searches, and finding out who's doing the advertising. Because based on that, you can see the businesses who really need our solutions, and then you can begin to network to find the best way to contact those business owners to find our solutions. I'm going to get Sarah Rose back on the call, and she's going to follow up the rest of these calls. Thank you so much. I hope that's very helpful.
All right, awesome. That was really, really great. So thank you, Ryan. We're going to go ahead and invite Eric Yu. Now, a lot of what Ryan is talking about is really just, building relationships with people that you don't know, people in industries that you're familiar with, or people in industries that work within a certain radius that you live in or work in, right? He's talking about identifying new prospects, and these are not prospects that fall in your warm prospect list. So I think a lot of what Eric is going to be talking about tonight is going to be extremely relevant to implementing Ryan's approach in an effective way, right? Because we all agree that when you meet a brand new prospect, that first impression is going to make or break us. So let me go ahead and find Eric Yu. Here he is. I'm Eric Yu is a senior master coordinator. By the way, he hit that pin level on our last fast track. So congratulations to Eric for that. He's also was personally selected to be a fast track coach and also a certified web center trainer. I know he's got some trainings coming up in New York City right away. So, what an incredible person to learn from. I'm going to let Eric take it over from here on what he would like to coach on for tonight. Eric, go ahead.
All right, thank you, Sarah.
You're very
Hi
welcome.
everyone. Um, what I actually want to share with you guys, but before that, I would like to introduce a little bit about myself. So my name is Eric. I actually work in a hotel in New York City, Times Square. Like Sarah mentioned, I actually work overnight shift, 5 days a week, every day from 11 p.m. until the next morning 7:30 a.m. So the time is very limited for me. So also the reason why I want to push myself to be on the fast track. To hit, to really run my Market America business to the next level. But anyway, today I'm going to share a topic that I personally think is kind of important for us, not only as a fast trackers, but also in Market America business in general as well. So the topic is called first impression. I'm sure that many of us already heard about an old saying, first impression is always the last impression. So same thing when we are doing MA web centers, when we are facing website prospect or potential customer, people usually judge ourselves using maybe within 3 5 seconds. They will based on your appearance, maybe your body language, or maybe the way that you dress, or maybe even the way that you smell. So this is something that I consistently reminding myself, and I'm sure that sometimes we will find out something that we really have to do better on first impression. So I actually lay out 6 key points. Because of the time, I'm just going to go over these 6 key points, but I'm sure that right after this, I'm going to write a blog, and so people can, to learn more about this topic. So the first one is to be on time. Very important. But in my own dictionary, I think that on time is actually being late. I would say to be there early, a little bit earlier, maybe 5 minutes early when you already book an appointment with your um, website prospect, right? Website customer. So when you're, they don't really listen to your excuses, saying that, oh, I got traffic, especially in New York City, right? They don't really care about your excuses. They really actually judge you. This person is not something that reliable. Especially for myself, younger generation, when we are doing website appointment, we really want to build the confidence and also building the trust between ourselves and also the website prospect, right? So the second one is take it easy. Just be yourself. Be confident. I personally just do not really believe in reading script. I truly believe that when we are become ourselves, right? Be yourself. Be very confident that what you have, and do not pretend that someone that you are not. Maybe Sarah has her way to do it. I have my way to do it, and you have your way to do it. Right? The way that we speak, totally different, right? So just be yourself. Take it easy. Relax yourself when you are talking to your website customer. And the third one is making eye contact, which I really think that is the most important. When you listen to your website customer, are you really looking into their eyes? Are you really paying attention on what they are saying? Um, when also try to remember that last time when you were talking to someone, right, and that person look into your eyes, right? I'm sure that that will give you a very good impression. Same thing with your website customer as well. So the fourth is dress properly. I don't really think that when we are talking to website customer, we have to for guy, maybe we don't really have to wear ties, but at least make sure that you are dressing really doesn't have to be professional, but at least formal, right? We need to, for example, at least you need to have a shirt and also have a jacket outside. When you're talking to people, when they really judge you with your appearance, do not ever just wear jeans. When you are first meeting this customer. The fifth, remember the name of the person that you really talk to, right? I actually have a big mistake that sometimes when you are nervous, have you realized that it's very easy for you to forget that person's name? But the way that I actually remind myself is after they mention the name, I will repeat myself. Nice to meet you, Eric. Nice to meet you, David. So that's actually telling my mind that again, what's that person's name? And also, if they have, for example, let's say sometimes they may have an unusual name that you don't even know how to spell it. Don't even don't even feel embarrassed to ask that person how to spell the name. All these little things, people will feel it. People will feel that you're showing cares, right? And the last but not least, I actually learned this from Sarah last time. Be an interest person, not just to become an interesting person, and also stay positive all the time. Separate emotion, separate from emotion and also to your business. Um, Come on, I mean, sometimes we do have a bad day. We do have a terrible day. Just give yourself a day off if you have a terrible day. Do not just become very emotional and do not put whatever that happened yesterday or from your family or maybe from your friends. And then when you're talking to your website customer, people can feel that you're not having a good day. That may turn out is not a good appointment, qualified appointment, or it may not turn out is a very good closing ratio to for your website sales as well. By ending this, I would say sometimes we also question ourselves that are we actually doing the good work? However, sometimes if we are actually paying attention on all these little things, you will find out that it wouldn't be necessary is the information that we deliver. It may be all these little things that giving people great impression is very easier for us to close the sales. All right, so I'm going to give it back to Sarah, and I'm also going to brag about what I just covered today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Eric. That was incredible. I mean, you guys, honestly, he nailed it on the head, and it's really the missing piece. And there's a couple of things in there that I just want to reiterate of what Eric said that he just nailed right on the head. Like I said, if you're going to be implementing talking with prospects that you don't know, like how Ryan was, really suggesting that we try, or even just working with your warm names list, being organic, being true to who you are, and having an approach that's comfortable for you in your own skin is completely important. That is why we have the simple sales approach, because we realized that 10 years ago or 15, almost 20 years ago, when we were starting the MA Web Centers program, not everybody was a website specialist. So not everybody did feel comfortable overcoming objections or talking about our product in a technical capacity or being able to answer very high level marketing questions. And that's why that referral approach came into play. It was all around that exact idea that Eric was just talking to about, which was be yourself, be true to who you are, and embrace an approach that works for you, and that is actually duplicatable also, by the way. But really it's about finding something that you're comfortable communicating and just being who you are, because people read that, people buy you first, and that first impression and the way that you're communicating, whether you're listening like Trista's really great examples from the first week, whether you're dressed professionally, you're being respectful, you're just doing those little nuances that demonstrate that you're A, professional, and B, that you care, are very, very important. So thank you, Eric, for that really great reminder. So here's what it all comes down to. The first impressions, talking to cold markets, talking to warm markets, all of it comes down to this. You have to understand that we have an opportunity to help a small to medium-sized business thrive, right? We always talk in terms of how we can build our own businesses, but what I want you to do this week is I want you to switch your thinking a little bit. As you're going about meeting new prospects or approaching your existing prospects, I want you to go about that thinking about how you can help them, right? Understand this. We help small to medium-sized businesses to increase their revenues, to decrease their expenses, and increase their customer satisfaction. And if you can come about this in a way of how can I help a small business owner, I feel like that is going to be a critical change in how you communicate. And it won't matter with whether you're talking to a prospect that you've never met before or whether you're talking about your prospect that's your neighbor that owns a daycare business. It won't matter, because if you're coming from a place from how can you help, that is going to make a very critical difference in how you're communicating and how your message is perceived by your prospect or your candidate. Right? So understand that you help a small to medium sized business to thrive by having a better online marketing strategy that helps them to gain new business for their business that they have probably spent their entire life building up. And more than that, we simplify the process for that small to medium sized business owner. Small to medium sized business owners are overwhelmed right now. They're overwhelmed with how to compete in today's marketplace. They're overwhelmed with how to market their business in general. Just think about all of the different avenues that they need to be present in order to compete, right? There's social media, there's multiple platforms on social media. There's blogging, there's Google, there's Yahoo, there's Bing, there's Ask.com, there's Yellow Pages and all different versions of Yellow Pages, newspapers, television, radio. There's a million different places that they need to be in. You know what? What we offer a small to medium-sized business owner helps them to compete in the entire online field. The entire horizon is theirs to take advantage of. So that's incredible. So how do you do that? You do that by communicating well. You do that by caring. You do that by being yourself. You do that by stepping out of your comfort zone and realizing that if you just stepped out of your comfort zone this week, not only are you going to grow your business, but you can help another small to medium-sized business to thrive as well. And you do that by leveraging our teams. Remember, it always comes down to this process. Whether you're talking with cold markets, whether you're talking with warm markets, it's about selling an appointment. You cannot sell a website over the phone. You cannot sell a website in a 5 to 10 minute conversation. But what you can sell is an appointment. So always be focused on that. Leverage the teams. Let the product specialist sell the site. Let customer care handle the customer technical support. Let the design center design the sites, and just participate in this process. This is a process that makes you bigger than you could ever be alone. And if you understand and embrace that, you will really, really grow your business. So, a couple of quick reminders. One website contact a day turns into 5 per week, right? Can you implement what Ryan talked about tonight? Can you go out and talk to different business owners one a day? That's it, just one a day, right? 5 turns into 20 per month. 20 contacts per month will land you 6 to 8 appointments. 6 to 8 appointments generates about 2 to 3 website sales. You guys, you are one website contact away from completely changing your web center business around. And it just kills me that more people don't acknowledge these statistics and use them to their advantage. Everybody joined this fast track for a reason. You all wanted to make website sales, and I'm giving you so many. We are giving you, it's not just me, it's the coaches, it's our guest speakers. We're giving you so many options and so many different ways to implement this system in a way that is going to be most effective for who you are. And all you need to do is actually do it. You need to take one of these ideas and implement them for yourselves and talk to one client per day or possible client per day, and that will turn into 2 to 3 website actual clients per month. It's that simple, you guys. It's really and truly that simple. So are you going to do it this week? Yes or no? Right? Remember to follow the steps, increase your productivity, expand your possibility list. Try doing what Ryan talked about today on the call, right? Pick an area, pick an industry you're comfortable with, or maybe just do the A to Z strategy. Do some research, ask some good questions, make a great first impression like Eric talked about. Sell an appointment. You need to own the fact that it is impossible to sell a website on the phone. Any smart business owner is not going to buy a website, and if they are, it's not a really quality sale. Be aware of where you are, right? In addition to everything that we've been talking about tonight, make sure that you're still, implementing that Connie Schneider strategy when you're out and about on your day, and you're meeting business owners, you're meeting people that manage businesses or are secretaries for businesses. Make a good first impression, like Eric was talking about, and really engage your existing market. One a day, one a day. That's it. If you can do one a day, your business will look different by the end of next month. You have to commit to one a day. It's really that simple, you guys. I want this for you so bad it hurts. Just do it. Take a look at the upcoming Web Center trainings, you guys. I mean, gosh, Florida, Texas, New York, another one in Texas, New Jersey, Oregon, Illinois, California, Poughkeepsie, Syracuse. There's a ton of incredible opportunities at your beck and call. You just need to just sign up. If you go to mawc411.com and if you click on this page, below these listed trainings, you're going to see contact information for the trainer. So if you have questions about the upcoming Web Center trainings, make sure that you actually get them. You guys, the ones in, there's one in New Jersey. You guys, I can't even tell you guys. Florida, Texas, New Jersey, Oregon, Illinois. These are places you don't see trainings very often. So make sure that if you or your team has, trainings people that want to get to trainings, that they actually take advantage of these opportunities that are in their backyard. Huge, huge shout out to Roger Rose, who's really just making the national tour of Web Center trainings. Really great. And Tristan Russell for bringing this to Syracuse. They haven't had one. I don't even know if they've ever had one out in Syracuse. This is really, really a great opportunity. You guys heard from Eric Yu tonight. He's doing a 201 in Flushing, New York on Saturday, November 2nd. Again, make sure that you're taking advantage of these. These are incredible opportunities. The trainings will completely change your posture and how you talk to your prospects. So I highly encourage you to get to one of these. Guys, thank you so, so much. Remember, one a day, one a day, one a day. That's all it's about, you guys. So please, please, please do something positive for your business this week and just go out there and really kill it and just make the success that you deserve.